It is Monday afternoon. I'm on my break, so try to get a little pedaling in before my break's over. It's so nice outside. I'm trying to take advantage of what's left of the summer. It's been like a really hot summer, but I'm like a fan of hot, warm weather, and I know it's going to go away soon, so got to get this in. Anyway, a couple things. Today we're going to be doing BMX Action magazine. I got 1987. It looks like August 87 if I remember right. Great cover. We got Eddie King on there, dicing it out with Billy Griggs. Eddie, of course, on Diamondback. And we got Billy Griggs racing on Redline in that photo. It looks really good. This magazine looks great. I thumbed through it for a moment and I noticed they're going to be doing the Terrible 10 for 1987. So that should be pretty cool to look at. I haven't had a chance to go into the magazine in depth. I just kind of flipped through it and decided, oh, this is the one I'm going to do today. So I'm pretty excited. Also, getting ready for Frogtown. We've got the Frogtown race coming up in, we got about 2 weeks. So not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So I'll be taking time off from working with my dad and heading down to Angels Camp, California. So we get some great shots of the race. I'm kind of looking forward to that. That's really a big race. And I've been talking to, obviously, to Terry. He's pretty pumped up. And he sent me some photos of his GT, which he intends to race. He said, this is my Frogtown Championship bike. So he's pretty stoked to ride that one. And I heard a little bit from Greg Romero. I saw one of his postings. He's out there training. So I understand he's going to be bringing out an Auburn. I'm going to see if I can get a chance to talk to Greg when I get down there at Frogtown. So anyway, lots of cool things are coming up. So I'm going to go finish this ride, guys. I'm going to head home, finish my work day out, and I'll work on that magazine tonight. So hopefully I'll get this up this evening, and I'll see you guys later. All right, before we get started with the magazine, I got this photo from Terry Tennette. So this GT is his championship Frogtown bike. So that's the one he's going to be racing coming Frogtown. This is Dick Cheeseburger, Jason Morris. Jason may not be at this year's Frogtown. He's got some commitments on a world tour with SE Racing, so we may not see him. And these are all the, well, some of the photos that Terry has up. Man, there's so much stuff here I can get content off of, so he better start working on these or I'm going to do it. All right, let's get into the magazine thing. All right, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. So we're finally getting to the magazine. So tonight we are going to do BMX Action magazine. This is August 1987. This cover is awesome. The reason I favor this cover, anytime you see a BMX Action and it's got racers on the cover, I'm all for it, man. I love race photos. Way over the freestyle stuff. Nothing against freestyle, but race photos are just amazing. Let's take a closer look at it really quick. So we got, obviously you see we have Eddie King on the cover. And he's next to Billy Griggs. It looks like that could be Charles Townsend on CW tucked behind them. Based on that crit plate, I'm going to guess that's definitely Charles. We got Terrible 10 1987 and the top 10 BMX and freestyle teams. Or AMs, excuse me. That looks pretty cool. We're going to do Racing Robinson's Test, BMXA's Bike of the Year. And again, this is BMX Action. You know, guys, I usually go through a lot of stats for the year, and I did notice one thing significant. In August 1987, Muhammad Ali was actually put in the Boxing Hall of Fame. So I'll attach a photo because I thought that was really cool. But anyway, let's get into the magazine, guys. I'm looking forward to breaking into this one, and I'll see you in there. All right, let's get into it. So we already looked at the cover, and the magazine itself was $2.50. Pretty typical. And guys, what did I tell you? Haro on the inside of BMX Action over and over. Man, that is such a great marketing move by Haro, because I'm telling you guys, I can't tell you how many magazines I've cracked open and seen Haro on the left side there. And they got the classic leathers here. This is kind of the second generation of the pants. See these pants here? I didn't have this generation, although the jersey looked pretty similar. Because I had a Skyway jersey with the pants, but eventually I went and got a Haro jersey as I started racing a Haro itself. And you know what's really funny is that I'm noticing that a lot of the current riders, today's riders, are actually using that jersey. I see it all the time. I think that's such a cool throwback look, and let's face it, it's a cool looking jersey. So let's see, what do we got going on? We got Dear Gork, Dirt. We have, let's see, drawing contest again. Oh, nice. We got testing the Robinson Pro Team model, the 87 Terrible 10, racing NBL Snipes Norco Fast Track. That looks pretty cool. I saw a few photos of that. We got Charlie and Billy on the, let's see, signature, I'm sorry, seriousness and silliness, hot prods, outtakes, and then, of course, on the cover. We already know what's on the cover. On this page, it says, what does that say, guys? He jokingly calls himself the #1 has-been of all time. John Cruz was the top 5 pro material. Right now, he's contemplating a comeback. Did you know he can pull it off? Or do you think he can pull it off? Wow, look at John Cruz. That's sick. Now, a couple things that are significant about this shot. John is wearing the BMX Action colors, and he's still on a Patterson. That is awesome, man. I love that. John was one of the most stylish riders ever. This is back in 1987. He was considering a comeback, and he definitely could have done it in my eyes. That guy was so stylish. Anyway, let's move on. That's a great shot. I love it, by the way. Okay, what do we got? Okay, we got the Spin Tech Freestyle Pots Mod sort of thing, Urchin's Cage. This is for the pedal cages that you can put on your Sun Tour pedals and things like that. First Class Flyers, US Air. US Air was sponsoring CW, was part of the CW package there, I guess. We got Charles Townsend still racing for CW, and as I mentioned, I recognize that crit plate. That's how I knew it was Charles Townsend tucked back here. So that's a pretty good eye. And I know that Crit, they paid these guys a pretty good amount of money to run the plates, and contingencies, I should say. And I saw an interview with the guy who runs Crit Plate on the Dirty Knobs podcast, and he said that's how he got his mainstream advertising. He offered great contingencies. The pros ran the plates. The pros got covers. The pros got... Look at, he's here, crit plates are everywhere. And it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's free advertising because they paid the riders contingencies very well. But that's pretty awesome when you think about it. I learned that from listening to podcasts. Let's keep on going. We got Dear Gork here. Let's take a look. Let's read some of these. Some of these are really funny, of course. Dear Gork, the 2 coolest racers in the world are Todd T.C. Corbett and Eric the Big E Bartolis. Probably said that wrong. Sorry, Eric. They're my favorites, and this was by Christy Carter from Jacksonville, Florida. And this person says, there was no response to that. It just says, letters from guys concerning girls, letters from girls concerning guys. Dear Gork, I have a majorly bogus problem. I want to freestyle, but that's not my problem. This is. My mom won't let me buy a freestyle bike because she says I'm not into it. But then she turns around and says that the reason I'm not into it is it's because I don't have a bike. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. I also think it has something to do with the fact that I'm a girl and she doesn't want me to get hurt. What do you suggest? That was from Jenna Stevie Stevens from Oklahoma City. And she says, P.S. If something happens to Reagan, I say we elect Diz for president. Nothing happened to Reagan. Okay, so I guess President Reagan was still there in 1987. The only thing you can do, Stevie, is just keep trying. Don't give up. Bug the heck out of your mom, and sooner or later she'll either do one of 2 things, buy you a bike or plaster duct tape across your mouth. And believe me, you don't want Diz to be president. We'd be in big trouble. First, he'd deport the senators' wives out of the country when he put a half pipe on the White House lawn, turn each state capitol into a concert hall, appoint Metallica to the Supreme Court, and pass a law that every United States citizen specializes in kick turns. That's pretty good. All right, here's a short one. Let's read a short one. Dear Gork, I have a problem. I have a lot of girls after me. It's affecting the way I race. What should I do? That was from Shredding Scott Knox in Athens, Georgia. Send him my way. That was Gork's response. All right, let's keep going, guys. Let's see what we got here. Oh, this is a great ad. Okay, so we got the Diamondback ad here. and that has to be Mike Dominguez. And this shot is amazing. So you got an airline with a dog, and he's getting totally rad in front of the plane. So that's some creative advertising, but I love it. Mike Dominguez helped design 3 radical ways to get more air: the strike zone, the hot streak, and the cool streak. I wonder how difficult it is to get your hands on some of these bikes from, I mean, this is the late 80s, but they mass produced a lot of these freestyle bikes, and mainly because they were really hot sellers at the time. So I'm wondering how difficult it would be to recover these bicycles and what's the value of them. And also, I'm also wondering, are race bikes more valuable per se than, let's say, the vintage freestyle bikes? So it's hard to say. I think it's a toss-up because I know there's tons of people that raced and there's tons of people that did freestyle, and I guess it all comes down to what people are willing to pay. But I tend to notice, like especially from the Rad BMX guy Sean, I watch his channel all the time, and he leans towards race bikes. He builds a lot of race bikes. Now he does do freestyle bikes. I did notice that, but race bikes seem to be more of his thing. So I'm wondering if the race bikes are worth more. I don't know what your guys' opinion are on that. Maybe you guys can give me some opinions in the comments down here. Whoa! Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. This has nothing to do with BMX. Maxim Music. So there were what we called record clubs in the 80s, and here you can get 12 albums for a penny. Now, realistically, you just paid for the shipping, and you can pick any 12 albums you wanted. And well, really for me, I would get cassette tapes because I was more into cassette tapes at the time. And I convinced my mom. It was Columbia Records, though. It wasn't Maxim Music, but it was exactly the same concept. I convinced my mom. I go, Mom, I really want to get some of this music. Can we sign up for Columbia Music? And my mom, being my mom, she was always trying to make me happy, and it was the greatest mom ever. She says, you know what? I'll tell you what, son. You can have it, but what happens is monthly, they're going to send you a card in the mail, and that card is waiting for you to select another album, because you have to commit to buying these albums for like a year. So you get 12, but you have to buy 12, if that makes sense. So anyway, my mom's like, when that card shows up, you fill it out and you put it back in the mail. I don't want to see those cards sitting around, because what happens if you don't fill out the card and select an album, or you can actually decline to select an album in a month. But if you don't select it, they'll select the album of the month and they'll just send it to you, whether you like it or not. And so I was like, okay, so I stayed on top of it, and I got I had a ton of cassette tapes because of that. Was this a good concept? Probably for the time. And would it work now? No, because we can stream music all day long, so it wouldn't really work today. All right, let's move on to dirt. You'll never guess who's on what team. Let's take a look. So Richie Anderson in August of 87 was racing for a company called Phase 2. Sean Riblett was on GT, Bill Madden on CW, Chris Backus went to Diamondback, Dana Griffin was on GT, Todd Lyons was on Hardee's, Robert Swick was on Eagle Snacks, and Nick Miso had joined Boss. Wow, that's pretty cool. And wait a minute, hold on a second. What is this on the bottom? Sponsorship answers. So you think you got them all right? Let's see. What is that all about? Richie Anderson is on Hardee's. Sean Riblett is on Eagle Snacks. Bill Madden is on Phase 2. Oh, they're wrong. I'm sorry, you have to match them up. I didn't realize that. So Richie Anderson was actually on Hardee's. Sean Riblett was on Eagle Snacks. Bill Madden was on Phase 2. Chris Backus was on GT. Todd Lyons was on CW. Now it's starting to make sense. Dana Griffin was on Boss. Well, is back on Boss. And then Robert Swick went to GT. And Nick Miso actually went on Diamondback. Okay, I totally should have read that, guys. Sorry about that. Oh, wow. Look at the wheel cover on this one. This is an ode to a foster child, now a resident in the land of Don Ho, Hawaii. The infamous and retired Pat Foster lays one last Hannah on us. Will this really be the first and last we'll see of him? The significant thing I want to talk about is his wheel cover. I never understood why people got wheel covers. Maybe it was just a fad. I thought they were kind of dumb, and they sounded crazy. I mentioned this in a magazine some time ago. They actually sounded very. It sounded like a hollow barrel rolling. It was just made a crazy sound. Let's see. What is? I'm sorry. What does it say? Was it the bike or just awesome racing strategy? Sorry about that, guys. Richie Anderson scarfed a pro triple at the NBL Memphis War of the Stars on Saturday. Since we weren't there covering the race, all we heard from our very reliable sources is that Richie was getting dead last out of the gate, but in the first turn he kept pulling the raddest swoop ever performed on a bike to take first every time. Wow. Boy, that'd be something to see. Damn. I really wish there was some video of that. All right, let's keep rolling. We got California Cheapskates, First Class BMX, of course. Let's just take a look at some of the prices for complete bikes at the time. So a CW Flyer was $179.95. And the GT Performer was $229.95. And then let's drop down to the race bikes. A Haro RS1 was $359.95. So that kind of answers my question on the value of the race bikes versus the freestyle bikes. A complete Haro RS1 was about $100 more than a GT Performer at the time, and I had an RS1, so they were pretty decked out. So that makes some sense. But the most expensive bike that I see here is a Haro Team Sport, which is $449.95. So I don't know. Now that really goes against my own argument, and that's the most expensive bike by far. There's nothing. Everything else is within the $200 to $300 range. And that was in 1987. So you can get yourself a really decent bike for far less than $500, which is nuts. Okay, let's keep going. We got the crank set from Peregrine, scooters, and then of course, let's see. Let's face the facts straight out of our competitor, and we got Gary Ellis here. And it's hard to see it, but I'll bring the magazine up. Look at he's squishing a snake there. That's supposed to represent the Diamondback crew, so that's pretty sick. And I love this. He's got the Diamondback ad kind of folded up in his hands right there. Really, really well done ad. I like it. Great interview with Gary Ellis on the Dirty Knobs podcast. I just listened to that one. Oh shoot, I guess it was because I think I heard Todd Huffman today, so it was probably a week ago, and it was the first time I've ever heard Gary do an interview. So I thought it was really, really cool. He's a very soft-spoken guy, but he had some really great stories. I definitely recommend going back and listening to that. Frankfurt BMX. And then this is pretty cool, 2-page ad. And oh, here we go. BMXA's 6th almost annual drawing contest. Look at the artwork here. Holy smokes. Who drew that? I don't no idea. It seems like it's been a long time since we announced the winner of the BMX Action Drawing Contest, Alan Tam. And he did this in 1985. Can Alan do it again? We'll see. This was done by Alan Tam in 1985. Look at the artwork on that. Wow, this one's really cool too. I love this one. It's kind of like an animated look. This one's awesome. Wow. Man, these guys can draw. I've always wanted the ability to draw. I just never had it. But look at this. You got to be kidding. Now, speaking of drawing, this is going to be Bob Haro's art right here. And that's first prize. And so you're going to pick up that original piece of art from Bob Haro. That's pretty awesome. You know, I heard some interesting things about Bob. I was running through YouTube today, and I apologize because I don't remember the young man's channel, but he was talking. I watched 2 of his YouTube videos. One of them was what happened to Skyway, and it was really interesting. And I didn't know this about Skyway, and I'm a big Skyway fan, but the Skyway Tough 2 graphite with the black and the gold hub, that was inspired by the Smokey and the Bandit car from the late 70s. That was a black and gold Trans Am, and that's kind of where they got the idea for that Tough Wheel. And I never ever knew that. And then I also heard he did another video where he was talking about Bob Haro, and I was working at the time, so I couldn't hear everything he was saying, but
It was interesting that Bob Harrow retired at 33 years old because, he sold his company. Obviously we know Bob went on to other things. He didn't just sit there and do nothing, but that's really cool. That was really cool. I have to figure out who that was because I'm gonna have to go through his videos again. Martin Aparijo, the chairman. Great. Man, Martin got a whole page to himself. That's really cool. Looks like a Facebook page for today. All right, let's keep moving. Dial in your scooter. Man, scooters were really the rage. They were starting to get really, really big. Now, let's disregard the scooter for a second. Let's take a look at this phone. Man, rotary phones. We had rotary phones in my house. It seemed like forever, guys. And I'm telling you, to use a rotary phone was the biggest pain in the butt. Like, let's say you're calling a phone number, you're like 7, 8, 7, 3, 4. Oh, wait, I got it wrong. Hang it up. 7, 8. It was a pain in the ass, man. And these phones, they didn't have volumes on them, so they just rang, and they rang loud. If the house phone rang when I was a kid, we had one phone in our kitchen, one was in my parents' room, and one was downstairs when I was growing up. Eventually, I got my own phone line too, but these phones were so loud. If it rang at night, it would literally wake you out of a dead sleep. It was just so loud, and that's why we probably had the rules in my house, man. No phone calls after 8 o'clock, or it might have been 9 o'clock for us. Me and my sister. So my mom and dad did not want to hear the phone ring once we got to a certain hour, and I don't blame them because this damn thing was so loud. What do we got here? Getting serious. All right. Robinson Pro Team model. It says here, part 2 out of 4 parts of the Robinson test was stopping by the NCB clinic for some thrashing with Cecil Johns, Terry Tennant. Moeller put a jump called Kong to good use. The NorCal boys call this place the clinic because it's where you get treated. I don't know where this place is either. And like I told you guys before, I am from Northern California, so let's keep digging in here and see if I can recognize anything. But this is a great shot of Chris Moeller getting busy on that Robinson. Oh wow, check it out. He's doing cans right here. And what is this from? There's a bunch of things you should know about this photo. If this is at Stockton, I was at this race. Let's see if it is. Stop number 3 for the Robinson test was at an ABA National. This is it. In order to wake up the crowd and get some killer pics to bring the fun back into BMX races, the ABA held another after third motos jumping contest. $100 was up for grabs, courtesy of Totally Awesome, the video people, and us, BMX Action Magazine. The Robinson performed to Mad Dog's liking, as he was doing can Larry's here, one-handed can, and for the first time ever, he attempted a no-footed 360 to his doom. Moeller has some tough comp through NorCal. Let's see, local called Mr. Air. Don't know who Mr. Air is. Okay, I'll stop reading that because this magazine is going to get really, really long. But it's cool how they took the Robinson. They didn't just go to an empty field and go trash on it. He took it, he ran through it paces. He took it to a race. He's racing it right here. He did the jumping contest with it. It says, here's what the Robinson is really meant for, national caliber racing. On Sunday, Moeller took the Pro Team model to both his 16X and 16 Open mains. And if you know how hard those classes are, you better believe the Pro Team model is worth $550. That's awesome. So this says a lot. This is some of the greatest advertising ever for a BMX bicycle, because straight out of the box, no modifications. He's in the jumping contest. He raced it. He made the main in 16X and 16 Open at a national. What else do you want? I mean, that's just, jeez, that's pretty impressive. I don't even remember this, guys. I don't think I've ever seen this magazine. Let's see, Diary of a Mad Dog. His latest creation, the Can Larry. Wow, look at that. That's amazing. Where are these guys? Where is this? It's fun to show bail shots like this because you know that he just learned a new jump from it and we'll have it dialed in a couple months. Looks like a kicked out no-footed can. What the hell? Jesus. That's pretty awesome. Okay, let's keep moving. Crazy JJ. The site host and Hyper NorCal A Pro Jerry Jones lofting his Jive BMX style. Wow, I wonder where they were riding at. That's really cool. It definitely looks out in the middle. I see a house out here. So it looks like it's out in some sort of farm area. I don't know where they were. That's a great shot though. Here's the Robinson Pro bike that they tested. Between $520 and $550 for the bike. It's 24 and 1/4 pound. The frame weight is 4 pounds even by itself. The fork frame weight was 1 pound 9 ounces. Handlebars 29.5 inches. They had an 8.5 inch rise. Top to, let's see, 1 1/4 inch down to 1 3/8 inches. And man, I don't want to keep going because there's just so much to look at here. But oh, look at the GT Pro Series cranks on there. Wow, this bike was amazing for its time. It still is. Hell, I think it's awesome. Oh my God, another scooter, Rockville, the direct connection. So these things were selling like hotcakes. We got, it's probably like the 4th scooter I've seen in this magazine ad alone. And MT Racing still going at it in 1987 with more of their entry-level BMX race bikes. Pretty cool stuff. California Surf Style, and then we got our Mongoose ad, all scooters. I mean, come on, man. Is this a scooter magazine? What's going on, guys? All right, here's what I've been waiting for. The Terrible 10 for 1987. This is awesome. Okay, so let's see who made it. So the Terrible 10 for 1987, Terry Tennant made it, Factory GT. Eric Harder was in the Terrible 10. He was racing for CW. There's Eric right there. Mike King, of course he made it on Haro. Mike jumped to pro right after that and won the title for pro as well. Cecil Johns, number 4, he made it. So he's, there he is right there. So he's in the Terrible 10. We got Matt Hayden, he did it, and he was on Free Agent. He made the Terrible 10. Where's Matt? There's Matt right there. And then we have Darwin Griffin. Darwin Griffin was racing for Boss right there. He made it. Todd Corbett made it. He was racing for Team Murray. Danny Milwee made it. He looked like he was, it says Milwee. No, I'm sorry, SE Racing. So he's racing for SE. And then we have Ron Walker of Eagle Snacks. And that's your Terrible 10 from 1987. Wow. Pretty awesome. Let's see. These must be all the folks that came really close. Dean LaBarge. Pumped fast, but isn't consistent enough to prove himself worthy. Dana Griffin came real close, but seems to flake out a lot and not race. And then Dave Cullinan on and off lately. He's been doing good, but last year he didn't prove anything. Todd Mitchell totally was in consideration. He's got potential. Billy Al, quick, but all NBL, needs to prove himself in the ABA. Glenn Pawlowski last year was hot, but this year he gained weight and isn't going as fast. Donovan McCurdy, he's a local from my old track. Makes too many mistakes. Donovan is fast. Donnie Hare, killer up-and-comer, but needs a few more wins to his name. Todd Lyons in contention, but with his new CW sponsorship, we'll have to wait and see how he still has it, if he still has what it takes, excuse me. Kenny May didn't make it. Fully flying, super fast, definitely came closest to taking Ron Walker's spot. And then these are the freestyle honorable mentions. But man, that's awesome. The Terrible 10, 1987. Okay, and these are all the freestylers. These are the top 10 amateur freestylers for 1987. Rick Molintner, I'm sorry. Molintner, I'm going to try one more time. Molintner, never mind. He was on Haro. Dino DeLuca, Dino, Gary Pollock for CW, Matt Hoffman for Skyway. Man, Matt resurrected BMX. You gotta give his guy a lot of credit. Carl Roth for Mongoose, Scotty Freeman for Skyway, Dave Bolker for Dino, Joe Johnson for Haro, John Hicks for CW, and Jason Parks for Schwinn. So that's pretty good. These are your top 10 amateur freestylers at the time. So pretty cool stuff. I like that they added the freestylers in there. Oh, look at the race shots of these guys, man. Here's Mike King. Factory Haro, great shot. Cecil Johns getting busy for Boss right here. And it's this is Dino DeLuca doing it for Dino. And look at Todd Corbett here. There's something about these Team Murray colors I've always liked. And they're really, really cool looking. Very factory looking. And what do they say here? Wow, these are just all, this is all the stuff that they're talking about. Recommends. We're not going to read all that, or we're just never going to finish the magazine. But this is really, really cool. Believe it or not, strange, bizarre, true. Price is so low, you'll think we've gone crazy. West BMX. And we got a lot of ads in this one. Let's see, what do we got here? BMX Action Company Cycle. CW kicks in, or kicks blah, 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 blahs. We got the CW 1987 Z1500. That looks like that could be Jason Donnell. Yeah, Jason Donnell. That's a great shot of Jason. All right, let's keep on going. Oh, here we go. Race time, my favorite part. All right. Okay, so this is the NBL War of the Stars. And this is Snipes Norco Fast Track. We call this Charlie getting treated. That's pretty funny. We got Greg Hill out here just killing it. And it looks like Sean Texas is right here, Gary Ellis, and they're squeezing out Townsend. So he had nowhere to go in this shot. This is a great, great shot. Now I could see here that we got Greg is running a Robinson, obviously, and then we got the GT CW. I wonder what Texas is riding there. He's got no stickers on that frame, and I have no idea what he's riding. I wonder what that is. I cannot tell from this angle. And he was on CW before, but that seat post, or that seat stay there, it's usually more at an angle, kind of like Chuck's. No idea. Anyway, let's not waste any more time. Let's keep on keeping on. Oh, great race shots here. What do we got here? First turn action, jam at Mach speeds, Chicken George Sievers running for GT at the time. And then we had Glenn Pavlovsky here. And then 16 expert Steve Dillard for CW. That's a great shot there. And this is 25 to 34 cruiser, full tilt. Louis Cassiano in the lead, Derry Stalo buzzing. That's really cool. Kuwahara rider Jim Kramer taking it high. And the return of the OM Scott Brythop jamming in between them all. That's crazy. Scott Brythop is in there racing still. That was 25 to 34 cruiser. Really cool. Townsend does an A Pro Award double on Saturday. Oh, wow. So Charles Townsend doubled. Hull does an B Pro Cruiser double on Sunday. Oh, so he won B Pro and he won Pro Cruiser. So Kevin Hull got a double. Boss and Color Control win team trophy on both days. Nice. Kenny May turns 16 and still jams. Right on. And then the weekend amateur doubles were performed by Tommy Sarver for 7X, Anthony Reyes 9X, Mike Luna 11X, Danny Nelson won 12X, Galen Starlin 13X, and Lonnie Tatton 17X. Those are all your doubles for the amateurs. Really cool. Whoa, these are such great race shots. I love these. So what do we got here? High speed feed out, fun, and it looks like Greg Hill, Eric Roop, great shot. I see Harry Leary back here. It looks like Mike King, I think, back there, and I can't identify the rest of the riders, but that's a great, great shot. Oh, look at this one. Look at that. That's for you boss guys out there. That's beautiful. Oh man, that's iconic right there. So that says here, Boss prides themselves on breeding the best only to be then taken away by other teams. They reach folk hero status. It started with Ronnie Anderson, Frank Post, then Sherry Elliott, and Terry Tennant. And well, you get the picture. These two guys are Pearl Harboring the 17 and over expert ranks, and Darwin Griffin in front. Cecil Johns holding up the rear, and both are loyal Boss lovers. We don't expect them to be traitors. So it kind of reminds me, Boss reminds me of the Oakland A's back in the day, because the Oakland A's would come up with all the great players, and the New York Yankees would snag them. So Boss was basically the Oakland A's, if you think about it. That's pretty cool. Another great shot here. We got, it looks like Townsend and Hill going at it. From what we've seen so far, 1987 and BMX will be owned by these two. You know who they are. That is really, really cool. So at this time, Greg's getting kind of his, I think Greg did really, really well in the late 80s rolling for Robinson. It was a great move for him to join Robinson. He did not have to worry about the stress of running his own company, just focus on his racing, and it definitely paid off, and I've always been a big Charles Townsend fan. All right, let's keep on going, guys. This is the track for Snipes. Very cool looking track. I'm going to do the best I can to show you guys what's going on here. So we have, it looks like a very peaky step jump here. It's a triple step up on the first jump, on the first straightaway. No other jump into your first turn. You got a tabletop. You got a decision maker set of doubles over here moving into the second turn. A little step down, big set of doubles, step up, step down, and then your finish line. Pretty clean looking track, not too technical. I don't know how big these doubles were, but they says the monster double straightaway. So, you know, one of the things I will comment about the 80s, it's, you know, if you're not a good jumper, it was kind of difficult sometimes when you go to a race and you have a big set of doubles like this, because, you know, if you're not a confident jumper and you have to find yourself rolling through them, it was pretty much a death sentence for your win. I mean, there's no way you're going to win if guys are going to be jumping these and you're trying to roll through them. And I remember I was in Merced, California. My parents drove me all the way to Merced because my local track at the time had closed and I had like nowhere to race. So my mom and dad decided, we'll take you out to Merced and let you race out there. So they took me all the way to Merced, which was a pretty good drive for us. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours from where I was living at the time. And so we get all the way to Merced, and there's a big set of doubles right before the finish line. And I remember I got there and I was doing gate practice and I was snapping and I was getting in front. I was winning practice, you know, I was doing really well. I got to the finish line and I didn't have the confidence to jump the doubles, so I kept rolling through them. And I was like, man, I have to almost stop so I won't crash. And I remember riding my bike back to the camper where my dad and my mom were. And my dad didn't go to a lot of races, but he used to give me really good race advice when he did go. And he goes, listen, son, you're going to have to jump those or you're going to get passed all day long. And I go, okay. So, you know, I went back out there and I went around the track and I hit the doubles. I just cranked it as hard as I could, launched and cleared them. And then my dad looked over, gave me kind of the thumbs up, and he goes, I'm like, okay, I can do it. Now it's over. I got the butterflies out. I know I can jump them. So our practice continued. I kept doing gates and I jumped the doubles about 2 or 3 times. So I was getting more and more confident. And about the 4th time I came around, I was actually deciding I was going to wrap up practice. I'm coming around the last turn. I'm going too slow. And because I was getting a little tired and fatigued, I hit the doubles way too slow, thinking I was going to easily clear them. And I didn't. I cased the second jump with my front wheel, and it caused my handlebars to go forward violently, and it snapped the handlebars right off the stem. So I had like this aluminum stem, and if you can imagine, let's say the stem is this hand sanitizer. The stem literally cracked in half, broke off, and the handlebars came off of the bike, and that was the end of the day. Nobody at the track had an extra stem, so that was promptly the end of my race day. I didn't even get a chance to race, but it was really cool to go to a local track and ride where nobody knew who I was. And you can tell all the other riders are like, who's this Skyway guy? Because I was running all this Skyway gear. Nobody knew who I was, man. And they just were like wondering. And finally somebody said, hey man, where are you from? I said, Union City, you know, and chit-chatted and what class you're racing, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, it never happened. Let's take a look at the results. Okay, so A Pro, Greg Hill won it. Sean Texas came in second. Gary Ellis picked up the third. Charles Townsend with the fourth. Eric Roop with the fifth. Richie Anderson sixth. Tommy Brackens with the seventh. And then finally Dennis Balch picked up the eighth. For B Pro, Kevin Hull picked up the win. David Balders, he picked up, I'm sorry, I'm probably saying it wrong. It looks like Balls. He picked up second. Sean Hildreth picked up the third. Russ LeBaron with the fourth. Greg Strani, he came up with the fifth. And then Dave Lucas, Billy Griggs, and finally Sasha Ergrick. So Billy Griggs was in his rookie season. Looks like he was in B Pro. Came in 7th place though. But still, we know Billy turned out to be a pretty awesome racer. Pro Award, Travis Chipriz. So Pro Open, in other words, he won it. Charles Townsend, Dennis Balch, Harry Larry, David Bass again, Gary Ellis, Billy Griggs, and Greg Hill. Pro Cruiser, Kevin Hull won that one. Eric Roop, Richie Anderson, Toby Henderson, Greg Strani again, Rick Palmer, and Turnell Henry. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, let's move on. We're getting close to the end. We got the skateboard ad again. Oh, look at this exclusive talk with Charlie and Billy. Look at this shot by Billy Griggs, getting the flatty all crossed up like that. Look at the hutch pedals, redline flights. Oh, that's just such a crazy cool picture. And then we got Billy Griggs here. I loved Billy Griggs' mini truck. Loved it. Look at that. I think it was black here, but he ended up painting it white if I remember right. And then we got Charles right here. He says, as long as my bike rolls straight in line, that's all I care. He gets me to the payout window. Charles excusing his bike's mechanical condition. I guess his bike was having issues. The girl reputation isn't quite what it is made up to be. I'm really pretty mellow. Now that I'm a pro, back in the days, Team Mongoose, that's when I used to be a girl. I used to have a girl at every race. Billy Griggs denying rumors. Next to racing, my truck is my life. Griggs cruising his toy, which would have been his Toyota. What happened? And here it says, what happens when the fad dies? That was Charles Townsend. Wondering why Billy's latest edition is a 200 watts, now 400 watt thumping Alpine stereo. Wow, pretty crazy. Well, you know, honestly, yeah, mini trucks were the rage in the 80s. They definitely were, but there is still a huge following for mini trucks, man. You go on YouTube and just type in mini trucks and you're going to see them all day long. There's still a huge following for these things. All right, let's keep on going. We got a great shot here of Charles Townsend, still on CW, not running CW bars, but he's still on CW. Charles Townsend quickly becoming the fastest pro in the country. It's a bit too soon to announce, but Charles has pretty much wrapped up the title for BMX Action Rookie of the Year. That's really, really cool. Here's a shot of Billy here on Redline. Look at the Vision Streetwear shoes. Fun, arrogant, humorous, cocky, consistent, stylish Billy Griggs. Oh, and he's fast too. This is great. I wish I could just read all this, but we're already, boy, we're 37 minutes in. We got to move, guys. Here's the exclusive talk. We got the Vans ad. Tioga ad with Eric Roop there. Totally Awesome was an actual instructional BMX race video, and I have some of the footage on one of my race videos because they were actually using the U.S. Nationals in Bakersfield in some of the footage of this race, and I was actually at that race. So this is a really cool grab if you can find it. I'm pretty sure you can watch Totally Awesome on YouTube. The whole thing I think is downloaded on YouTube. So it's a little corny because, you know, obviously it's the 80s, but it was a really fun watch. We've got the Titan here. That's a cool looking pro bike right there. And oh man, more scooter wheels. Man, this is a scooter magazine. And these are all the this was their Just Say No to Drugs campaign for BMX Action, and you had all of the major pros signing off for the Just Say No for that, so that's really cool. And then, oh, look, I didn't even know Boss had a freestyle bike. Who would have known? Wow, now that's probably worth a pretty penny if you could actually find one somewhere. And here's the frame and fork sets for the race bikes themselves. And these are really, really expensive to get your hands on now, by the way. And on the cover, Eddie King. Let's see what it says about Eddie King here. King Edward can now show off his own cover, number 3, for those who are counting. Wow, he's got 3 covers. Eddie King is the man. I love it. Got Kevin Hull here with the one-page ad for himself on GT. Nice. That's a straight cool ad there, Kevin. Let's keep moving. Look at Mad Dog. This dude's got so much style. He's on the outtakes. And then we have something called Visage. I have no idea what Visage or Visage is. Looks like some sort of freestyle gimmick. No idea what that's about. But it's still a cool ad nonetheless. Very 80s. I like it very much. And that's it, guys. Got the Tioga ad, of course, on the back. And that's it, my friends. August 1987 BMX Actions in the books. This was a fun one. Sorry it took me so long to go through it. I don't like to see 40-minute videos. I'm really sorry. But this was a good magazine. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. We'll be doing a race video probably next week. Or I might just hold out until I get to Frogtown on September 7th. But anyway, guys, thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one.